Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
In Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm here, and I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Daily Tech News Show Live is made possible by you listening right now. Thanks to all of you, including Larry Bailey, Michelle Sergiu, Kirk Stephenson, and our brand new patron, iMad.
Yay.
Maybe they're not anymore, though. Or maybe it's Imad. Welcome, whoever you are. And thank you for being here.
Indeed. Welcome to DTNS Live to all of you. This is the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand what is the latest together so we all understand it a little bit better. And joining us to help out today is Emily Forlini, senior reporter over at PC Magazine. Hi, Emily.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, now, we were talking before the show. The last time you were on the show was before the holidays?
Yeah, sometime in the fall. Yep.
Yeah, okay. It's been a minute. Well, we're so glad to have you back.
Thank you.
We moved some things around since then.
Yeah. We've done some redecorating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
I hope you like the new place.
I like it. It's going to be a good show.
I agree. I like that attitude. All right. With that, let's start with the quick hits.
Activision has added new content disclosure verbiage that, yes, it indeed has used AI-generated assets in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, following long-standing speculation from players. Activision published the disclosure on the game's Steam page, but did not give details about what was generated. Fans had previously flagged potentially generated content, including a loading screen with a six-fingered Santa Claus and a zombies map logo.
Adobe launched a new Photoshop app for iPhone with an Android version coming later this year. It's designed for mobile, but a lot of folks say this includes more core Photoshop tools that, desktop users want anyway, with AI-powered features like generative fill and Adobe Stock integration as well. App is free, but an $8 per month premium subscription unlocks extra features, including for existing Photoshop subscribers.
Microsoft now offers free unlimited access to Copilot Voice and Think Deeper, powered by OpenAI's O1 reasoning model, to everybody, all users. Keep in mind that delays may occur during peak times, since everybody can use it. Copilot Pro, which is $20 a month, still gives you priority access to new models and experimental features, as well as Microsoft 365 integrations.
Bloomberg reports that Apple and Indonesia have reached a deal to lift the iPhone 16 sales ban in the country, ending a 5-month-long dispute. Apple will invest $1 billion in local research and development, and Indonesia's Ministry of Industry will sign an agreement this week to approve sales. The ban was imposed back in October 2024 and stemmed from Apple's failure to meet local manufacturing regulations.
I knew those two would figure it out. DeepSeek has resumed its API access after a 3-week pause because of basically everyone using DeepSeek. Developers can now top up credits, but server resources are still limited during peak hours, at least according to a WeChat message sent by a DeepSeek representative. Bloomberg reporting on that. Meanwhile, Alibaba launched a preview of its own reasoning model, QWQ Max, which the company says it plans to open source.
Baidu has completed. I'm just laughing at the naming conventions. I mean, we'll try anything.
QWQ Max.
Yeah, why not? Baidu has completed its $2.1 billion acquisition of Joyy's YY Live streaming business, reviving a 2020 deal that never came to pass. Back in 2024, it did, due to regulatory hurdles. The move lets Baidu diversify revenue and compete with other streaming giants like Douyin and ByteDance. It also frees up $1.6 billion in escrow, which Baidu could use to invest in AI and cloud infrastructure, which has indicated it is going to do. Over 1,000 musicians, I will not list them all, but they include Kate Bush, Damon Albarn, Annie Lennox, among others, have released a silent album of 12 recordings that are meant to protest the UK government's proposal to let AI companies train on copyrighted work without permission. The album is titled, Is This What We Want? It features recordings of empty studios and performance spaces. Basically, yes, the artists aren't there. They're not making music. So you don't hear anything. It's meant to bring attention to the threat to what the artists are saying are their livelihoods. Profits from streams are going to go to the UK-based charity called Help Musicians. The album release coincides with the closing of a government consultation from mid-December on changes to copyright law, in which a waiver for AI firms is the preferred option. The plan has an opt-out option. So in theory, an artist could say, hey, I don't want to participate in this. But many artists say the wording is vague, it's unclear, and especially it's going to be problematic for creators with smaller audiences and have fewer resources.
Well, yeah, it's also just a proposal. So calling it vague and unclear is fair, but also it's not meant to be proposed legislation. This is them saying we considered these three options. One would leave everything copyright by default. One would leave nothing copyright by default. And the other is what their favorite proposal is, which is allow companies to train off stuff, but create a system that lets you opt out. And I think the artists are reasonably taking issue with it being opt out. Nobody likes to opt out. Everybody likes to opt in. So I think if this was the exact same proposal, but said there will be a regime where artists can approve their stuff for training, then there would be a whole lot less issue with it. But what the proposal does is say, if we did it that way, it would reduce innovation. So what we want is permission for these companies to train off data while putting in new rules that allow you to keep your stuff out of it. And again, psychologically, nobody likes to opt out. Everybody likes to be asked first.
Yeah. The album, like I said, 12 tracks. I will read them in order. First track is The British Government Must Not Legalize Music Theft to Benefit AI Companies. So making the stance pretty clear. I think it's loud and clear how artists, and not just musicians, creative folks have all weighed in on this. And not everybody feels the same way, but for those who feel like this is the wrong way to go about this, it's an interesting way to raise awareness and give money to a charity that is also trying to raise the same kind of awareness.
Yeah, and this proposal from the UK government is a consultation, and it wants feedback. There you go. There's your feedback.
Yep,
we made a whole
got some
album.
feedback.
Yeah.
Emily, are you going to listen to the silent album?
Maybe I will, because it sounds like there'll just be no sound, right? So we could just have it playing in the background.
Yeah. On repeat, even.
Yeah, on repeat.
I mean, I guess you'll get some room noise, room
Yeah,
tone.
could be almost soothing in a way.
White noise-ish.
Right. If I want to feel like I'm in a big, empty performance space, this is the album for me.
Right.
I have not listened yet. It's not on Apple Music. It is on Spotify.
I think it's a good point, though, and it's a creative way to make it, because it is a concern that all these AI companies, for some reason, don't think it's important for there to be an economic model that supports what they train on. So it is a concern. You used to write a book or write a song, and you would get paid for it because other people, you could only access it through you. That's why you don't print illegal copies of things. That's like kind of what the world has run on. And now it seems like we're quick to toss it out, because now it's saying that they can just recreate versions of their work without them being involved through, creating songs that sound like theirs or train on their works. So it's almost like kind of cloning these artists and like creating new songs that they didn't authorize. It could even have like their voice or their signature riff that they do on the guitar, or just these other markers. They're saying like, hey, that's mine. I'm not going to do this stuff if it doesn't make me money. Like, I can't participate in this economy if there's just like no reason for me to do it. And I think it's a problem.
I mean, on one hand, technology has always provided concern for artists of all stripes, right? When you think of the photocopier. I remember when the photocopier came out, there was a lot of concern that people would be able to steal books because they could photocopy it and it's legible, as opposed to like back in my day, you had ditto copies and you had a bunch of other facsimile tools that weren't as good. VHS tapes.
But they
Hollywood.
do all that. Like you can
Yeah.
buy a PDF like of a scam book on eBay, which
yeah.
I have like personally
I
done.
mean, 15 years ago, there were stories coming out of Japan where a lot of Japanese bookstore owners had signs that says no phone, you can't pull out your phone, because people were taking pictures of certain passages, whether it was in a magazine or a book. It's like, whoa, you got to buy it. You just can't take it and then put it back on the shelf, kind of, as it were. I think it's part of it is just that we need to develop a system that takes that into account instead of just sort of plotting ahead that as if it were the same system as it was in the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah, that's usually where I end up on this is it is in fact fair dealing or fair use to train off data, because while there are cases like you said, Emily, where this could actually recreate something, that's not usually what it's used for. And it is transformative. It is by definition, it's not taking my book and putting it in a database. It is training off my book to say these kinds of words are related to these kinds of words. And there's, millions and millions of other data points besides my own book in there. So on one sense, I'm fine with that. On the other sense, though, I feel like people understand that this is different than other kinds of transformative uses that fair dealing or fair use rules were set up for. And we want to be asked. We want a chance to say, can we do licensing? I think a lot of these companies are starting to understand that, and at least making deals with the largest companies. But what I would have preferred the UK do is create some kind of system so that artists of any size, no matter whether they're with a big publisher or a big distributor, could go in and say, yeah, I'll allow my stuff to be trained on for, this amount of payment, and maybe create an exchange where it's easy for companies to write a monthly check and then that's distributed to people. Instead, they went the easy route, which was, we'll just leave it all free by default, and you have to do the work to come in and say, actually, I would like to have a licensing scheme. And they could create what I'm talking about, but it's not contemplated in this document to create some kind of exchange or licensing thing.
Exactly.
And I think they really should.
Yeah, it's like if you want to help develop AI, you should incentivize people to want to participate. You should want to opt in. You should benefit from opting in. That's how you grow like a new technology and get people on board, rather than create like this false choice that's like, okay, you just lose out and you're now a Luddite. That's not working.
And I mean, part of it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Roger.
Oh no, I was just going to say this kind of goes back to what Justin was saying earlier this week about generally in Europe, including Western Europe and Britain, which has included that. There has been such a kind of paranoia about falling behind on a lot of these key technologies that some of them might be inadvertently just like rolling out the red carpets, like, we'll do anything. We just need you to come in because we feel that we are losing behind China.
The labor government's definitely feeling that pressure right now, for sure.
And there's just this sort of like, I mean, we all do it, right? We get anxious. When we're late, we like, oh, I locked my keys in the house because I was trying to get to the train because I'm late. You have this sort of sense of urgency. And sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of the more delicate issues sort of just get brushed aside.
Like if you're late and you just like run over your neighbor's mailbox and you're like, well, I gotta go.
I mean, I did that to my neighbor.
Please send me feedback.
Yeah, it's like you're late. The person in the back, they're bleeding out. Screw the mailbox. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, actually, that was kind of messed up.
Well, and I think that there's this ongoing concern that the AI companies, technology companies, that are in play here, they, if a 1,000 musicians care enough to be a part of this album, to have their names associated with this album, then obviously there are countless others who don't understand that this is going on. They're not up on the latest. They maybe don't live in the UK. I mean, there are all sorts of reasons that someone could either just be unaware, but still very much a creative person that would have an opinion about this. Mm-hmm. And then when does it become too late? It's like, yeah, I hit your mailbox, but now the mailbox, I can't make the mailbox not have been hit. The damage is done. Can the companies, if an artist says like, well, hold on a second, I would like to opt out. At what point is there enough information that artist contributed to that is just in the system? And I think that's what freaks people out.
And I will go back to the point that this is the beginning of a process of drafting legislation. So I think it's a little unfair to say they don't have any details, because this is the point where you're saying, hey, I think we want to create a system that's kind of like this. What do you think? And granted, I do think it's a little tone deaf to have picked the way they went. But if you read this document, they very thoroughly considered all the cases. They just picked the tech company friendly one. And I think at least the process is working in that they're like, we want to hear what you think. They're hearing what you think. The proof will be that they listened, and do they come back and adjust this proposal based on the feedback they're getting now before they start drafting the legislation.
Right. And there are issues, or there have been lawsuits where people, like a bunch of authors, and I think even like YouTube creators were involved in this, got mad at Anthropic and OpenAI and all these companies that train on a certain data set that just like rips the transcription from their videos. It already has a bunch of copyrighted books because it's just this illegal like data trove. I mean, all these things are out there. So whether or not an artist, chooses to opt out, I don't know that that's really a real choice, or they even know.
Are you closing the barn door after the horse got out? Is that what
like, do you even know that the opt-out works? Can you verify it? How do you know there isn't some other data set they've already used that has your stuff? I know that opting out is something OpenAI does. So this, the UK was probably like, yeah, we'll just do that too. But it's not a great system.
Yeah. And I do think sometimes the harms can be exaggerated. And I'm not trying to say there aren't harms. True. But, it's not like I go to ChatGPT and every day it gives me a copyrighted work, right? It is different what they're doing than just copying things into a database, which I think a lot of artists don't understand that it is that different. That doesn't mean that you don't have the right to say, yeah, even if it is different, I think we need a new rule for this that says you need to ask me first.
That's why I'm surprised there's so little attention on like creating a new rule or coming up with a new economic model. I guess OpenAI is paying certain newspapers, to use their articles. Okay, that's a step. I think they're not paying them enough, but I'm not going to be the one to solve this problem. I wish the people who were trying to solve it, like these people, like just were doing a better job.
Well, you for one have my vote when you run for parliament.
Oh, thank you. The People's AI Party.
Be it the American or British Parliament.
Yeah. You could join British political parties even if you're not a British subject. So. Yeah.
Well, a company called Clicks just launched its physical keyboard case for Android phones. Tom, let's talk about this keyboard case. I think some people might be into it.
Yeah, last year they launched a case with keyboards for iPhone, and now they have 3 models coming for Pixels, the Razer Plus, and Samsung Galaxy S25. They're the same price as the iPhone cases were, $139, but they are on sale. So if you've got an Android phone, you can get one for $99 if you order it by March 21st. It won't be shipping until April. Roger recently was talking about how much he missed the physical keyboard. You're an old BlackBerry fan, Roger.
Right.
Does this appeal to you? Would you plunk down $99 for this?
The idea appeals to me. In fact, unfortunately, but the way it looks, one, it extends the length of already a very long device, so it makes it cumbersome to hold. Two, the location of it. I mean, if you're going to type that way, you're having most of the mass over your fingers, and so it's going to be like typing like this.
Because the phones, BlackBerries were designed to be a little squatter, right?
And the only one that makes sense is the Razer one, because it's a foldable, right? And so the weight, at least the weight distribution, looks like it'd be a lot more manageable than, your traditional slab smartphone.
Yeah, I don't know if the charging case really replicates the original physical keyboard, but I wonder just how many people this really appeals to. Apparently, they sold 100,000 of these things worldwide for the iPhone, so there must be some market.
The original, iPhone case came out. I had more than a couple friends be like, "Oh, this is what I've always wanted. I've always wanted this." For me, I do prefer a physical keyboard. Haven't had one in a really long time. I mean, gosh, what was my last physical keyboard? A BlackBerry Pearl, circa 2006, which was extremely small phone overall. But I don't really like the on-screen keyboards, which is why I don't do a lot of work on my phone. Or, when I used to use an iPad, or a tablet, any kind of tablet, kind of same thing. It's like, I just want that physical keyboard. It's still a pretty small keyboard. It does make the whole experience larger and heavier. And yeah, it's kind of expensive. It's,
If
it's not $20, it's $100.
Yeah, 140 retail.
If it was like the old Sidekick, where the thing would just kind of pop over and at least cover part of the screen, that would be kind of cool. I also
you could do that with a case where you have a keyboard that slides out and is a little more usable. The weight would still be off, though.
I can see that being handy if you have your phone like hard bolted down to like a gooseneck or something on the dash of your car and you're typing it this way, but like it just seems uncomfortable. Like I hate typing on my screen this way to begin with, and now I got to do it this way. I never liked physical keyboards on phones, even the BlackBerry ones, because they were too small. Like I don't love the on-screen keyboard, but yeah, Emily, what do you think?
I agree. They're too small. They're too precise. You have to hit the little button, and I think the like iPhone keyboard that I use, it kind of like covers my errors. Like it kind of interprets what I meant to type, and I feel like it corrects what I'm saying, and it makes me feel like I'm a great typer on my phone because I'm like going so quickly. But then as soon as I turn it off, I realize what I've been doing is like ham fisting like my texts. So I don't know. I don't really want to go back to just hitting these tiny little buttons. And I feel like the audience for this is also getting older, and it's already hard to type on screen, and it's going to be even harder, I think.
I think part of it is that we're using a data entry system that was invented in the 19th century, right?
Well, yeah, there's that too, right? The keyboard
What's
itself.
that?
Yeah.
I mean, like
just the layout,
QWERTY?
the QWERTY layout. Yeah.
I mean, and that was designed because they wanted to avoid getting the keys stuck. Like if you've ever used an old, like before electric
And how many
typewriters.
times have your keys got stuck on your phone, Roger? See, it's working.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is I've mentioned this back when I was in college. One of the classes I took, one of my classmates was deaf, and they had a stenographer that would come in and type out notes. And I was always asked, just like, man, that's so great because the keyboard's so small because everything's phonetic, and so when you type it, it just needs to be a different way. I know they do the swipe text and a bunch of other things. And
Yeah.
voice,
Yeah,
but I don't want to. I don't want
alright.
to talk to my phone. Like
People still use plenty of third-party keyboards. None of them ever stuck with me. I've tried out a few of them. I was like, you
my
have to
wireless-
really want to do this.
My wireless keyboard will connect to my phone. But then
that's cool.
it's kind of awkward to use.
My biggest
like you
issue
just
right
did.
now
Yeah.
is I got my nails done, so I have like slightly longer nails than usual, and it is like totally messing up every typing activity. So I'm kind of going between like the pad of my finger but the touchscreen doesn't register the tip of the nail as a surface. So I mean, I would like someone to solve that problem.
I mean, I would laugh, but exact same problem that I have. I don't have any nails right now, so it's not an issue. But when I get to like my nails start to look good, my typing starts to go to hell.
Press on nails
I had
just
to
start
get.
flying.
I came home from the salon and I had to clip them even shorter because I don't want to pick between my nails looking good and being able to type a text.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not a big issue. I know, and I almost never get.
It's
my
the
But
little
it's
things, though. They build
yeah.
up. It's important.
Yeah, they also get in the way of me playing guitar, so I have other reasons to keep short nails. But as long as we're talking about keyboards, that's an issue.
Yeah. I always wanted something where I could sub-vocalize, right? So I didn't have to talk out loud if I was like in a public area, but I could just kind of mouth the words. Maybe what I really want is to just read my brain. And
What about like
let
a
me
lip reader
think.
camera?
Yeah, something like that, where you could just, quietly say what you wanted to show up on the screen.
Should be like in Dune, where they just like understand what you're saying.
Yeah. No, that's
What you're
perfect.
thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
I just want the what, at least on iOS, what the like suggested replies are for messages, just to be less
Just
stupid.
a little better.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Tom might be like, "Hey, Eileen and I can't make dinner tomorrow," and I like my choices are like, "Sounds great," or "Sad."
Okay.
You know, or I'm like, "What? I wouldn't
I
have said
found
either of those
myself,
things."
like-
Are
Or
you
a
supposed to
heart
get
emoji.
smarter?
I found myself
emoji.
kind of lashing out with those. Like I was sending some annoying bureaucratic emails, and I picked like the dumbest auto response at the bottom of Gmail because I was just like, screw this email. Like I'm just gonna make it worse with this dumb like auto generated thing. And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Sometimes someone will be asking, I don't know, a request of some kind in a nice way. And the suggested response is very cold. Like, sorry, that's not possible. You're like, whoa.
I mean,
like if someone says it to me, I'd be like,
Never
what did I
contact me
do?
again. Why is that an auto?
this is where like on-device LLM could come in super handy. One, it could learn what your previous responses were, or if you pay a special fee, you can get a celebrity one, so you could do it in the voice of like Howie Mandel or The Rock or whatever. Like you want to punch it up a little bit.
But then you have to make sure that they opted in.
Right.
What if you What if you trained on an impersonator, and they opted in?
Well,
That's the whole OpenAI situation with Scarlett Johansson, right? Then you don't want that. You want to, if you're an AI company, you want to steer well clear of that.
So no SCOJO replies.
Well, or anything else, yeah. Folks, if you have thoughts about this, I know you have thoughts about physical keyboards. You can jump in and start a conversation in our Discord about them. We got a lot of folks in there talking about the stuff we talk about on the shows, and you can join our Discord by linking your Patreon account at patreon.com/DTNS.
Now, you out there might be in the market for a new EV or just curious about what EVs are new and cool and what they do that they didn't used to do. But as a shopper, realistically, what can you expect to find on the market today? Now, Emily, you've been following this story quite some time, so help us out. We're ready to buy.
Yeah, it's a very interesting time in EVs. I mean, there's obviously a lot that Trump is doing to kind of stop some of the federal funds going to charging, but that doesn't necessarily affect what you see at the dealer. So there's still going to be a lot of EVs out there that you can buy. I would say a really big one is the new Tesla Model Y, which starts deliveries next month. So the Model Y is the #1 top selling car in the world, not even just an EV. And so it's got a little refresh. And so that comes next month. It's already available in China. Similarly, like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is probably the biggest competitor to the Tesla Model Y. That just got a big refresh. The Ford Mustang Mach-E got a refresh. So that's a good place to start. Those names are kind of like old standbys that now are more updated. So if you're in the market, I would at least go to a Hyundai dealer, go to a Ford dealer. Kia is another really good one, and just try what they have there.
So when you go to the dealer and you're looking for, subsidies and rebates and all of that, how does that work? Like what's available now?
Yeah, so this is a lot of misinformation about the tax credit.
Yeah.
People think it's gone. It's not gone. It's still very much here. It's up to $7,500 off of your purchase. There are only certain vehicles that qualify. You'll see on the screen there, the Cybertruck does qualify. Also importantly, you have to have a household income of less than $300,000 or $225 for an individual, or no, the head of household category, and then it's a little less for an individual as well. So you have to meet the income levels because, of course, they don't want federal funding going to billionaires who are just doing it for funsies. So you need to find a car that qualifies. I'll read them off. I have it up here. It's at fueleconomy.gov. You can see the full list. I have an updated one. So the Acura ZDX, Cadillac Lyriq and Optic, Chevy Blazer, Equinox and Silverado, the Ford F-150 Lightning, Honda Prologue, that's a good one, Jeep Wagoneer S, Jeep's first all-electric car, Kia EV6 and EV9, then the Cybertruck Model 3, one trim of the Model X, and a couple trims of the Model Y. So if you are under that income level, you can get $7,500 off your purchase.
And that's good all year. I think a lot of people thought that went away, right?
No, I mean, it's good all year. Like on the website, it says, if you buy an EV between January 1st and December 31st, 2025, but there have been mid-year shakeups. So like the list changes because it all depends on the car has to be made in the US. It has to have a certain percentage of materials from the US. So if a supplier can't satisfy that, okay, maybe they do a run in China, they do a run in Belgium. And so so it like falls off the list. So you kind of need to, I would definitely look online yourself and don't trust the dealers because of course they want to buy a car or you want to sell you a car. And they can give you the rebate right at the dealership.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. You can get an instant rebate.
You can get an instant rebate, but you have to still report it on your taxes. So if the dealer was like, hey, yeah, you qualify, here you go, and then you actually didn't and you report it, then you have to pay it back.
Then you're on the hook.
So you have to educate yourself a little bit. Yeah.
You're like, whoops, I'm way richer than I thought.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
So that's the credit deal. Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's so many folks out there because we talk about EVs here on DTNS quite a bit, and we have a lot of folks who are passionate about EVs and the future of EVs, and you still get that huge swath of people who say, I don't know, I don't think we're ready for that yet. I'm uncomfortable. You know, what if I go? I need more range than I have, and I get stuck somewhere. Obviously, it's easier than ever to not get into that situation, but for a lot of folks, the hybrid model seems to be certainly more expensive in many cases than, you know, the internal combustion version, but a good happy medium.
Yeah, I think a lot of car companies are kind of settling on hybrids for a combination of supply chain issues, like getting materials, you know, that aren't from China, and also consumer pushback. But there is a little bit of innovation with hybrids that we're going to see this year. So Ram, which is a very traditional brand, you know, they sell trucks. They're coming out with the Ram Charger, which is it's a new form of hybrid. So basically, it can go 145 miles on pure electricity. That's a lot of miles. Like if you're
that's
just
good range.
Around town for sure, even, you know, trips a couple hours there and back, you don't really need more than 145 miles. And then when it runs out, you actually can fill it up with gas, and the gas will start to recharge the battery. So you're always using battery in some form, but you have like this backup gas option, which is really interesting.
So the engine doesn't drive the drivetrain; it just turns like an alternator or something that recharges the battery.
So it's like a generator, yeah.
I remember they originally tried that, like Chrysler originally tried that back in the mid 90s. And one of the issues they came out with was, one, they couldn't generate enough charge during the course of a drive to refill the battery. Also, the battery technology was still like lead acid, so you didn't have the capacity or the ability to charge at the speed that you needed to. So I would be great, because I would totally. I mean, I wouldn't get a Ram because it wouldn't fit in my driveway, but it does. I mean,
you have street parking; it'll be fine.
Hyundai's looking into it. You can try the Hyundai that's going to come. I think Ford is too, but it's good for trucks because I think even Ford has kind of agreed, like, electric is difficult for some traditional truck users because they want to tow and they want to do like high powered things. And so the battery is just dropping like crazy when you add those loads. And so that's why this Ram Charger, it can basically be an EV because, you know, they're better to drive. They're like faster on the acceleration. They're smoother. They're quieter. Like everyone wants an EV. They just don't want it to run out of battery. So but adding the gas kind of helps.
Well, and you get the benefit of the maintenance advantage of an electric vehicle because you don't have the internal combustion engine, so there's no oil changes and things like that, right?
Yeah. I guess actually that flags an interesting point. You definitely would probably want to go to a Ram dealer for a new kind of car like that because I don't think every old mechanic is gonna be an expert at, you know, solving the way that the gas and the battery work. So that's a good point.
So you've got more maintenance than a pure EV because of that, but you've got less overall maintenance than you would if it was a traditional hybrid with an internal combustion.
But the engine does like even if it's in a Ram, it doesn't need to be a V8. It could be like an inline 4 and still crank over enough to recharge a battery at speed, which, you know, one, you eliminate the weight of that. Two, you eliminate the complexity, so you can actually work on it yourself. I mean, I that would be good. I've always wondered because I used to think that the original Chevy Volt had that system set up, but then they said like the engine was also mechanically connected to the wheels at points.
Got it. Yeah, there was a BMW back in the day. It's called like extended range hybrid that people kind of point to in this space. But I mean, it's good that 145 miles of all electric range, because you want to maintenance wise drive the most you can on just electricity, because it generates a lot less heat. So like heat from the engine and the gas converting that reverberates through your car and wears the parts out. So the most you can act like it's an EV, the better for your wallet.
Although it does, the Ram Charger, according to InsideEVs, has a 27-gallon tank. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a jam and you need to get gas, like you're gonna be okay for a
27
while.
Totally,
It's not like
yeah.
emergency reserves.
That's a good question, though. If your EV dies and your gas tank was empty, how long does it take for the gas to charge up the battery so you can get going, since there isn't the internal combustion engine?
It's true.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I'm assuming none of us know the answer. I'm just, pondering like
I
that.
feel like that would be on the dashboard. It would have to manage that, because I think there
Yeah.
are times you can go in and out. Like you might be able to set like, oh, I want to be on electric now and then gas, or I want the car to like intelligently mix both, or there's like a lot of options. And that's where this stuff people can nerd out on battery tech. I mean, once you see that on the dash, you're kind of like optimizing your little world and getting excited about it.
But with the 168 kilowatt battery, which is a smaller one on the Ram, you get roughly 350 miles range, assuming you're not towing anything. I'm sure once you tow, you drop that by 40%.
Yeah.
But the larger battery, 229 kilowatt hour, will get you 500 miles of range. I mean, if you translate into the towing, that's easily 250 miles of towing, assuming you're not like towing a concrete mixer or something behind you. Like you tow a boat or like a RV trailer,
Right,
or something.
a barbecue food truck like our buddy Chris Ashley.
Oh
does,
yes, definitely a food not cart.
He uses his Ford Lightning to pull the truck. I wonder if he was starting over from now, if he'd be interested in the Ram Charger because of that backup. Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect Goldilocks option. I guess it's like, oh, what's the catch? I'm sure it's going to be very expensive.
Oh yeah. I mean, partly they're putting it in a very expensive vehicle, right? Like pickup trucks aren't like the ones from the 90s or 80s, and they're like they're luxury vehicles, and they start at $50,000, and that's just for the standard V8. Although some of them are moving to turbocharged V6s. Huh.
Yeah.
If they could do this with a Ford Maverick, I'd be super excited. A Ford Maverick is a little compact pickup truck.
People always talk about the Ford Maverick when the EV discussion, like it always comes up, and I'm like, why isn't Ford just electrifying the thing? Like everybody wants that.
It's probably a supply. It's like you have to get all the pieces. You need the battery, you need the components all to come together before. I assume that, or maybe some guy in accounting doesn't want it to happen.
I think Ford is like Ford's not happy because it's having trouble making money on EVs. So I don't know. It's not pushing the envelope. It's kind of like pulling back a little bit.
Well, they also killed off all their sedans, and the only car they have is the Mustang. So people like me would prefer a sedan because four doors, easy to park. But that's just me. I'm a weird guy that way.
Well, folks, if you're in Europe and you're feeling like, hey, what about the Europe side of the conversation? On DTNS Briefing, we're talking to Bodhi Grimm in a series of conversations about the Chinese cars. So you can catch that over at dailytechnewsshow.com as well.
Well, we all like free things. The EV's not free, but something that we use every day might be something that Microsoft offers. Roger, tell us more and tell us about the catch.
So, Indian tech review site Bebom reports that Microsoft quietly introduced a free ad-supported desktop version of Office, so users can access Word, Excel, PowerPoint for free without any subscription in India. Now, of course, there are caveats to this whole thing. One is the Windows only. The most advanced features within the suite are locked. That means you can't access certain things. And you can only save to OneDrive, so no saving locally to your hard drive or your thumb drive or whatever. And there's a persistent ad banner that appears in apps. and you get a 15-second video that plays every few hours, reminding you have an ad-supported version of the program. But what I was thinking is like, I mean, would you put up with adware if you could use something for free, like say Photoshop or Premiere, or it doesn't have to be Office. It could be. I mean, I'm thinking of all the things I used the free or the shareware version without paying when I was in college. Right, Cool Edit Pro. I used NetZero to log on the internet because I got those 30 minutes. I got like 60 minutes for free every 3 hours. So I would dial up, and I was like, I'd be on it for an hour. I mean, like when you're hot up, you try to hustle for the best deals. I would consider, because I don't use Office that much, and the times when I do need it, it's just because I need to look at something that someone sent me. So I mean,
but there's so many programs that convert all that stuff now. I mean, I get it. If you're in the Microsoft Office universe,
they convert them. But Microsoft has never given people access to the actual formatting. So I've opened stuff in LibreOffice. If it's just a simple text document, it's fine. If it's formatted with bullet points and graphs, nah. Then you got your graph over here. You got bullet points off center. It's all weird.
I love the frustration in your voice. It's so real.
Oh, no. It's like then you need to go through and go one by freaking one to realign everything. And it's
like you pull up the file and your immediate thoughts just, this is a disaster.
Well, and one of the questions that I had was, if you can only save, let's say I beautiful PowerPoint presentation, very important. I can only save it to OneDrive. What if I don't have an internet connection? I can't save it anywhere else?
No.
What do I do?
Don't
How
think
beautiful
so.
is it?
No.
Is it really that beautiful?
Yeah, if you want it, the options are OneDrive or buy, like the suite. That's it. Those are your options. And
yeah,
so,
if you're using this for free, it doesn't have an offline save option. It's fine for viewing, I assume.
Yeah,
but also
part
of the reason for that is they can't serve you ads if you're offline.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. I don't pay for YouTube Premium. I'm used to a variety of ad-laden websites that I visit every day. I'm good at closing windows, but ads are definitely a part of my life in a lot of situations.
I pay for Hulu and Disney Plus, and I still get ads. Like,
well,
it's just
sure, okay. That's so. I just feel like there are people who are going to say,
this is Roger's subject.
Like if listen, if you're gonna throw me a bunch of Sunday ads and flyers in front of my face, fine, let me get some use out of it. Now, if it gets really bad where they do the ad so it covers like whatever you're typing up, and then suddenly there's this thing for like,
it plays a video every few hours.
Yeah, it plays a video, but that's every few hours.
Yeah, but still, the moment it doesn't, yeah.
So, I mean, there's things like TeamViewer that for the longest time used to be free for personal use. And then it got bought up, and then they started just nagging you constantly. Like they'll give you really passive aggressive, like, thank you for playing with the rules, have a good day or whatever, just kind of like letting you know that they're keeping an eye on you. And then on the very odd days that I use it once a year, it complains like, you're using this for commercial purposes. It's like, dude, I just helped my dad out with his phone for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
but your dad owns a business.
Yeah. Well, no, he's retired.
A bunch of people in the a bunch of people in the chat are asking about the OneDrive thing, and we haven't got our hands on it, so we don't know exactly how it works. Yes, you can have OneDrive mirrored to a folder on Windows. What we don't know is if you do that. So if you do that and you're online, it will be as if you saved it locally. Just means you can't save it anywhere else but that OneDrive folder. But maybe you just keep all your folders in OneDrive and then it won't be a difference. I get that. I don't know if you're offline, if it will let you save to the OneDrive folder, or whether it says, nope, you're offline, you can't save anything. That's a good question. Because in practice, it might not be that big of a deal to save to OneDrive if it's just going to sync back to your desktop anyway.
Yeah, and just copy and paste it into like a RTF or something, like in a Notepad or WordPad. That way you just have a backup. Just a backup. But
if you're going to have to do that, why use
I don't
this
know.
at all?
But this is the thing. If it was other software applications, I would totally knuckle under and like, I use InDesign once every 3 months sure, I'll look at, a dancing beach ball or whatever thing you want to sell me because I just need to use this for like 45 minutes. Then I'm done.
Right.
You can also just use Microsoft's free web versions of stuff too.
Yeah, but it's a desktop version, and then you get an ad. I don't know. I think it's kind of. I would not be against it. I would not be against it.
Are you going to try it?
If they allow it, you can download the application. I want to make sure that it actually works outside of India right now because
Might be a region specific thing.
it might be a region specific thing. And in the B-Bomb article, they did mention that piracy of software is quite rampant in India. So this could be one of those things where we'll make it easier for you to use it, and you don't have to pay anything. You just need to allow us to claw back some revenue from you using it.
Yeah, and in return, you don't pirate our software.
Yeah.
I would use this. I would certainly try it out. There have been a lot of sort of freeware, but not really programs that I've been like, oh, this isn't worth it, abort mission. But yeah, I don't use Microsoft's Office Suite regularly enough to have strong opinions about this. I think if I did use it on a daily basis, and it's certainly if I needed more advanced tools, it would be like, this is just not for me. And I know a lot of people out there are saying, yeah, it's not for me. But if it's something that you need every so often, and you can part with the fact that Microsoft is trying to get a little bit of money out of the fact that you're not paying anything, it's a nice option.
College students, they will find a way. I had an intern who did not pay for a phone service, and they use wherever they got Wi-Fi, they would just use Google. Google phone? What was the Google? phone service?
Akhtar used to do that.
Oh. So, yeah, no, we remember Michael Hand, Sarah? Do you remember Michael Hand? He was an intern back. So he used to do that. It's like, yeah, I don't have a phone. I have a Google Voice number. He was using Google Voice, and that was free.
Yeah.
It was like, like wherever I go, either at home or on campus or at work, I'm connected to Wi-Fi, so it all works. So I don't need to pay. It's like, cool.
Hey, if it works, it works. You know what else works? Sending us emails, because we read them all. And sometimes we read them on the show, like today.
Electronic mail. We got one from Dr. D about our Monday show discussing charging your devices. Dr. D wrote, I picked up on a sentiment that the need to charge daily was pesky, especially for people sleeping with them on their wrists. I have a very different take. I have an Apple Watch that I wear nearly constantly. I try to maximize the lifetime of the battery by not charging it more than 80%. And Apple has a fast charge feature that, based on measurements I've made, recovers approximately 2.3% of charging per minute when the battery level is between 20 and 80%. For my typical morning, after getting up and working out first thing, the battery on my Apple Watch is down around 25%, which means that I can put it on the charger for 24 minutes, about the time it takes me to brush my teeth and shower and shave, and it's back up at 80% and ready for the day.
Dr. D, I'm with you. We don't have the exact same morning routine, but I am also a Apple Watch overnight wearer, and first thing in the morning, I, get up, look at the news, make some coffee, sit down, kind of wake up for a little bit, and that's when I charge my watch. Works fine. If I forget to do it during that time, then I'm going to have a problem with battery life later in the day, but it works out nicely. Just have to have
I would
routine.
trust Dr. D with my life, probably.
Seriously.
Extremely responsible.
We also got an email from Clayton writing in about our chat about the growing prevalence of bots. Clayton says, I'm a technical architect and mainly configure call centers utilizing Salesforce. In fact, I'll be at their TDX Dev Conference next week in San Francisco, and the theme is full bot integration implementations, including multiple types of AI amongst them, generative and predictive. Their approach is heavily focused on prompt templates, which includes mail merge features and input tokenization, zero storage, response scoring, and cleansing. As for letting the visitor know that it's a bot, the trend will, and has even begun moving to, incorporate the assistant model and name the bot. Here's the chatbot for Saks opening message, for example. Hi, I'm Sophie, your Saks virtual assistant. How can I help you? The trend is for friendly, personalized AI experiences which can handle full retail-based use cases and any automation tasks, even those that require connectivity to other systems like inventory, contact profile enrichment.
Your personal pal who's fun to be with. from the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation. No, this is good. I appreciate Clayton sharing the expertise with us here.
I also feel like the assistants for some time now, at least the ones that I've run into, particularly when it's some sort of shopping site because they want to be really nice and get you to buy something. There's a lot of this like, hi, I'm Eddie, your virtual assistant. How can I help you?
Yeah.
But that's annoying, right? Everyone's annoyed by that.
Yeah.
When it pops up when you don't want it.
Yeah.
Definitely
don't want to
not.
buy anything. Now half your screen's like a physical hand, like, hi.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're as weirded out by these because of Siri and Amazon and Google Assistant and stuff. We've kind of got used to the idea that something can be virtual. So that itself is not the issue.
I'm at the point where I'm weirded out when I now don't know if it's a bot. Like there's multiple scenarios when I'm chatting.
Where they
quote unquote,
aren't
with
clear.
It's very, these large language models, they just sound like humans. So I just have these extended conversations and I don't know if it's a human.
See if you can start making them hallucinate. Then you can tell.
Yeah,
Actually,
you have
maybe
to
not.
corner them.
Maybe it could be a human.
You have to start getting really weird with what you say and
Yeah.
throw them curveballs. But yeah, you could have full blown conversations all over the internet now, and you don't know if it's a human or just an AI model.
Well, and especially if it's too helpful. I'm starting
Right.
to get to the point where I'm like, not human. This actually happened. I switched vets recently,
No
like
human would help
veterinarians.
me.
Yeah, you can. No human would be this nice. I switched vets, and they're very. It's kind of this like modern take on veterinary care. So everything goes through the app, and you can get somebody on the phone, but they encourage you to text back and forth
Start at the app,
with variety of clinicians. Yeah, and I was going back and forth with somebody the other day, and I was so suspicious that I was like, is this a bot? Because if it is, you should tell me. And she was like, no, you can call me right now. Here's my phone number. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You were
bots
just
have phone
amazing.
numbers now. I know about agentic AI.
Yes, right. It's
Right.
like, even if
I
it was a
looked
bot, I don't know what I was trying to gain. I was just like, I know what's going on here.
I look to
love
see
that.
if there's any if there are any typos for certain words. Like if they type, it's like, oh,
And
it's a typo.
if there's a typo, it's human.
I'm sure they'll change it so like the agents will.
But yeah, no, that's a good indication that you're dealing with a person. Somebody accused me of being a bot in a comment somewhere. I think it was on YouTube, and I was because I had a typo, and I was like, no, because I have a typo. It's like if I was a bot, I wouldn't
Yeah,
have the
it's
typo.
much more me, in fact.
I got confused, or I got accused on PC Mag. Someone commented on one of my articles. This very nice comment. It was like, "Oh, I love Emily's work. She always writes things that I'm interested about in such an interesting way." And I was like so warmed and so touched. And then I looked today, and there's like 5 comments on it being like, "This is Emily," like for like posing as herself, like commenting on her own article. And then someone made an account and made their display name Sharon and be like, "Yeah, that's Emily, and I'm Sharon," like proving that you can like comment as whoever you want.
Oh.
The guy who commented is named Bob Rutherford. And Bob's just out there. I mean, I felt very accused. I was like, wow, you guys really ruined my moment here.
Yeah, that was a nice moment too. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Well, folks, if you would like to ruin my day, you can send us an email, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Hopefully it's an email that will not ruin Tom's day.
Hopefully not. Hopefully.
Yeah. Emily Forlini, you did not ruin our day. In fact, you made it quite a
Absolutely
bit
not.
brighter. And besides fielding comments of people accusing you of pumping up yourself on your own
Let's
articles.
gassing myself
And what's
up.
wrong with that? Even
And
if
what's
you were
wrong with
doing
that?
it. Yeah.
Indeed. Right. You look in the mirror in the morning and you say, you're great. You're worth it. It's okay to do that.
It's just validation. We all
But
do.
let folks know what you've been up to lately, where they can find your work.
Yeah, so you can find me at PC Mag, Emily Forlini. You can find me at Blue Sky, Twitter. Sometimes I post cringy TikToks, which is always fun. And then I also just started kind of a casual podcast with another journalist. It's called Unicorn Roast. So it's like roasting tech unicorns, working title. And that's on Substack. So if you can stomach more of me, you can hear me for an hour every week around the weekend we publish.
Great name. I love that. Good stuff.
Thank you.
During the show, folks have been submitting titles at dtns.showbot.tv. So we always like to check in and see what they have submitted, and then we'll pick from the ideas. It's not it's not a democracy. Let's be honest. Let's not even pretend. But yeah, we always like to see who's leading the votes. Moose2271 with, if we don't get rid of keyboards, Majel Barrett won't have a future job. Referring, if anyone doesn't get it, Majel Barrett was the voice of computer in Star Trek forever. And I think they even like sampled her voice so future productions can still use that. So yeah, we have to get rid of keyboards. That is the future. Also, we've got the bottom of the barrel.
Good.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Silence on shuffle. Paying for Sarah Lane's voice.
Nobody would do that, Moose.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. EV Curious, Larry in Atlanta. Nice one. Free but from Nth Mike. One way to use Office with ads. What do we go with?
Six-fingered Santa.
Six-fingered Santa is a really good one, too.
We went with Larry in Atlanta's submission, EV Curious.
We also just got a super sticker on YouTube from C-Spawn. This is not Emily. No, really.
I would be impressed if Emily could have actually done that during the show and gotten away with it.
Especially because C-Spawn's been in our chat for like years. So it would have been a long con.
While I'm on the show, I'm also doing that just to manipulate my image.
7 years ago, I had a great idea.
Yeah. I've created an account called C-Spot.
I would love if I did that. Like that would be the coolest, like longest range strategy ever. But yeah, it's not.
Indeed. Well, big thanks to all of our YouTube viewers. Thank you to our LinkedIn viewer as well. And big thanks to our Twitch viewers. Buku Star just followed us 11 minutes ago. Thank you for the follow. Frozen Fusion 365, also a new follower. We got Bits from PC Milesy. Zoe brings bacon. And thanks to all the subscribers who keep it up at our Twitch channel. Appreciate you very much. And thanks to all the patrons who support us at patreon.com/DTNS.
Indeed. Apple Vision Show.
Wait. Morton gave us a raise. I just noticed this. Hey, thank you, Morton. That's very nice of you. Yeah.
Morton, maybe you also like Apple Vision Show. If not, let me tell you about it because we're about to turn 50 episodes old. It feels like Eileen Rivera and I just started the show yesterday, but it's been, well, over a year. I would love to have you join us. We're live streaming right after DTNS Live tomorrow. That's February 25th. As usual, talking all things Apple, the good, the bad, the ugly, the stuff we want, the stuff we have. Of course, you can also subscribe and listen or watch at your leisure at applevisionshow.com. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. And just a reminder that DTNS is live Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back doing it all again tomorrow with Scott Johnson discussing why Game Pass hasn't become the Netflix of games just yet.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.